Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Tonight we're speaking from Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 19, concerning the discussions of Vaidura and Sri Maitreya Rishi. So, I'll do the Sanskrit. Yat sevaya Bhagavata 𝗔𝗯𝗃𝗁 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗷 𝗪𝗏𝗔𝗍 padayo vasayadana. Translation: by serving the feet of the spiritual master, one is enabled to develop transcendental ecstasy in the service of the personality of Godhead, who is the unchangeable enemy of the Madhu demon, and who services vanquishes one's material distresses. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The association of a bona fide spiritual master, like the sage Maitreya, can be of absolute help in achieving the transcendental attachment for the direct service of the Lord. The Lord is the enemy of the Madhu demon, or in other words, he is the enemy of the sufferings of his pure devotees. The word rati rasa is significant in this verse. Service to the Lord is rendered in different transcendental mellows, relationships: neutral, active, friendly, parental, and nuptial, or conjugal. A living entity in the liberated position of transcendental services to the Lord becomes attracted to one of the above-mentioned mellows. And when one is engaged in transcendental loving service to the Lord, one's service attachment in the material world is automatically vanquished, as stated in the Bhagavad-Gita. Raso vayam raso pi asya param 𝗔𝗯𝗃𝗁 𝗲𝗲𝗍𝗃. Yat sevaya Bhagavata 𝗔𝗯𝗃𝗁 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗷 𝗪𝗏𝗔𝗍 padayo vasayadana. By serving the feet of the spiritual master, one is enabled to develop transcendental ecstasy in the services of the personality of Godhead, who is the unchangeable enemy of the Madhu demon, and who vanquishes one's material distresses. Om Yanam Timirandasya Yanam Yanam Shalakaya Chakshuramitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So this is a very simple verse, but in this verse, all the keys to become self-realized are there. The very important points. It's not very difficult to understand. What is difficult is to get association with a bona fide devotee. Everyone is trying to be a devotee. But a devotee has to make a lot of sacrifices to become a devotee. It's not just overnight you become a Mahabhagavad, So, you have to investigate in reading these Srimad Bhagavatam, because all of these verses are giving very nice information of, how to do it. the first, we want to do something for ourselves, right? We like to do, I'll do it myself, I don't need anyone. The teacher gives you the homework, right? So you say, I can do it myself, I don't need any help, And through life, we are like that, the boss in the job says, like this, I don't need any help, I can do it. We have very much confidence in ourselves. That is, everyone wants to have that. Indeed, we have to have that, But spiritual life, you find like in anything else, you need a teacher. You need somebody who knows more, If you just hear from persons who know the same thing, what will you get? You will get, even if you hear the words of these verses, still you won't understand. Somebody may understand, just like a very gifted person, like say Bhaktisiddhanta, he could understand everything just by hearing. But a person who's not trained to do that, you require no more than hearing. You require someone who cares for you, somebody who takes care and shows you and teaches you and guides you with love also. You can't have a spiritual master who has no love. If a spiritual master just has the teaching, that's not enough for the disciple, is it? Not enough. Because we are beings of love. We're beings of love. We're not beings of hate. We're not beings of distress, right? We're not beings of bad things. We're beings of loving qualities. That's what we belong to the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is no, bad quality. That's a very difficult thing to get rid of, bad qualities. So that's the whole attempt to be a devotee, is to banish bad qualities and to enhance on the good qualities, which requires, if you're talking like that, then you require another devotee to help you. People say, I just love myself, but it's not possible, is it? You won't get any satisfaction from that, will you? But if you come and love the devotees and serve the devotees, you'll see you get a lot of satisfaction from that. You do something else for someone else. And that will help you to give you better quality. So that's what it's about. And you learn these things from the spiritual master. And that's why I said you have to get a spiritual master. All over the place you hear, please get a spiritual master. So it's a very serious thing. Or why would it be all over the books? And this is the point. Spiritual master is not just like a teacher. The spiritual master, Prabhupada said, is not one person. We may have a spiritual master, one spiritual master, but we learn from everybody. You can learn from everyone. You can learn a lesson from a young child. You can learn a lesson from an elderly person. And you have two things. You have the spiritual master and you have the godbrothers of the spiritual master. So the spiritual master and the godbrothers of the spiritual master are working together for your benefit. That's the way it's always been like that. Very personal, very direct. You find Krishna consciousness is not something we'll tell you what it's about later. We can't give you the full truth now. We'll tell you later. Or we'll tell you we don't know who God is, but if you keep going on, you'll find him. We don't talk like this. We say who God is. We say what he looks like. We say what he does. We say where he's from. We say when he comes. We say when he goes. So we don't play around like we don't know who God is, but if you go around, you'll find him. No. You're a person. You have a form. You have life. You have activities. So why should you deny God his form? As Prabhupada would say, if God doesn't have a form, how come you have a form? Well, you're more than God now? So in this way, the Krishna conscious movement, the philosophy excels because God is present. God is not like, we don't know who he is. And we don't know what he does. And we don't know why we're here. Most people, that is the question they have, but they don't know. But the question is, why am I here? How come I'm not in Vaikuntha, right? I mean, I'm probably in Vaikuntha, but how come we're not in the spiritual world? And that is because we are trapped in the material energy. And being trapped in the material energy, we become exposed to bad elements. Bad elements are represented by, bad association. You're with the wrong people. You say, somebody says, let's go to the temple. Somebody will say, oh no, it's a basketball game. So if we go with the basketball game, what do we miss out the games with Krishna on the bank of the Yamuna, right? They're throwing balls and running like basketball. But that is the original thing. You don't want something temporary, Life is very short. You have 20, 30, 40, then you have 50, 60, 70. Then it's over. So within that space of time, if you spend so much time doing something that's not connected directly with Krishna, you're going to be wasting a lot of time. You're going to be wasting a lot of time. Say you study biology. Say you study the moon. You study the astrology. All of these different side studies, right? It's not going to benefit you. At the time of death, you say, what's going on? You say, I've studied, the planets are going around like this. So you end up wasting a lot of time. Somebody's into the motor car, So there's a lot of distractions from Krishna consciousness. And the important point here is to develop the ecstasy. That's a very important point in Krishna consciousness. It goes on, if you don't know what the ecstasy is, you won't know if you don't find out. It's something that you can know, you'll only know in yourself. You yourself can develop the ecstasy yourself. But you won't be able to come in contact with it in any other way. But purifying the mind and senses and becoming attached to, like it said here, the spiritual master and devotees of the Lord. One who is attached to the devotees of the Lord becomes blessed by the devotees. And that becomes easier to attain Krishna. That is the secret. You cannot go to Krishna directly. You have to go and satisfy all of his devotees. And then he'll be satisfied with you. That is the principle of the spiritual world. Love for everyone. And that is why the material world is so much distress, because there's no love for everyone, right? It's just distress, the killing, the murdering, the stabbing, Love is not put forward as the main future for these children. And love is not taught in the school. And sometimes, love is not taught in the home, right? So, but this is what the spiritual master teaches. Love and ecstasy is the same thing. You cannot find ecstasy without, love. And you cannot find love without ecstasy. So both of those things are very important. How they develop is, you cannot develop it falsely and say, I love Krishna. It's not going to happen like that. Krishna is very, if you didn't love Krishna, you wouldn't be here. But the Lord is once more. Prabhupada said, Krishna is greedy. You give him one, he wants two. You give him two, he wants three. You give him three, he wants four. The more you give him, the more he wants. And the more you can give him, the more you'll find that you are becoming purified. If you're doing something for Krishna, you're getting purified by working for him. Your mind is thinking about him. Your limbs are acting for him. And when you're doing that, you find yourself in Krishna consciousness. And you're very happy, you're very blissful. Outside of that Krishna consciousness, people can be very unhappy. Just the mind alone will say, you have so many problems. What is described in this verse, right? Distress. You cannot say, I'm okay, there's no distress. If you say like that, then the stress will come and say, wait a minute, the stress is here. So you have to find a way how to deal with the distress, not just block it out, I don't think. But the services of Krishna itself will destroy, the distress. Very important point. we come to Krishna consciousness to destroy our distress. And to destroy the distress, you will have to attain the transcendental ecstasy. When a person has attained ecstasy, distress cannot touch that person. That is the opulence of Krishna consciousness. So different people try to get free from distress in different ways. Somebody said, I don't have to be a devotee, I don't have to be Krishna conscious, but I just make a lot of money. Which is generally the trick that Maya uses, you know. You need to eat, you need to sleep, you need so many things, you need money. Or else the distress will catch you. But that is a reality, of course, but we work with Krishna consciousness. Krishna comes and relieves us from our distress. We don't depend on money. There's so many people with so much money, but they're full of distress, right? So distress, to get rid of it, is very important for us to do. We cannot say that we're free from distress. You know, we're in a material world. You know, birth, old age, disease, and death. If you don't take care of the body, you're going to be in trouble. You know, so Prabhupada said the material body is a third-class body. We think it's very nice, it's very nice, very nice. But the material body is a third-class body. You know? It poop, 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 like a train pooping, you know. And then the middle of poop out, you know. Somebody says, you know, I got a doctor's appointment, you're not going to disturb. Well, why are you going to a doctor for? So the material world is always like this. In old age, right? It's always chasing everyone. In a few minutes, you'll be old, you know. So old age is very, you know. And then somebody is very old, then they may not be able to think straight, to do the Krishna consciousness. So it's very important, Prabhupada said, to try to do as much as you can when you have all your faculties. When you have good mind, good intelligence, then you have to be very enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness. You never put it on the shelf like, I'll wait till it develops. It won't develop if you put it like that. I'll wait a little bit to see if it develops. It's like a garden. If you have a garden, right? The time is going by, the planting is now. If you don't plant now, right, you won't be in time, right? When you have a nice garden, people say, oh, the beautiful garden, the beautiful garden. But the person who did the work in the garden to make it beautiful, that's the important point. So, in Krishna consciousness, in the beginning means we do the dirty work. You know, we try to find out the faults that we have within ourselves. Very nice. If you could find the faults, you'll be very blissful and happy. But if you don't want to find any faults with yourself, then you'll always remain trying to find Krishna. So, it's not to find other people's faults, but it's to find our own faults that will purify us so we can help others. And that's what devotee means. Devotee means, Prabhupada said, you know, to help for other people, to help for other souls. So a very important business taken up by, you know, our great-grandfather, spiritual master, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He wanted this. He wanted this. He wanted this knowledge of Krishna consciousness to be spread in the Western world. Because everything in the West is based on the body, isn't it? Everything for the body, fashion for the body, everybody's crazy about the body. But at the price of what? Forgetting about the soul, you know, the destination for the soul. The only one who will be achieve that spiritual ecstasy and ananda is a person who is, you know, dedicated, a person who is surrendered, a person who is well studied. You cannot really become Krishna conscious if you say, you know, I don't know the philosophy. I'm just like the chanting, right? I like the prasadam, right? And there's so many nice things about Krishna consciousness. But of course, the devotees are transcendental. We love the devotees. But we cannot just like the thing. We have to study the books and understand the philosophy also. The philosophy is very nice. The philosophy will make you very strong. A person who knows the philosophy will become very strong, very steady, and very able to answer questions from other people. Somebody say, what are you doing? Why are you doing? You have to know what you're doing. You have to have a nice understanding about it. Very clear. Just like Prabhupada. very clear understanding. When I studied with Srila Prabhupada, I noticed that Prabhupada's mind was very clear, very pristine. And so to do that, we're going to have to stop the craziness in the mind. Part of Krishna consciousness is like going to the doctor. The part of Krishna consciousness is like being in jail, you know. You're in jail, you're locked up. You cannot get out. You're in the hospital, you cannot go anywhere because you're not well. So in Krishna consciousness, in order to move, you have to get better. You have to get free from the disease of, that's called false ego, that separates me from everyone else. The false ego wants us to think that we're a person, we don't know everyone, we just remain to ourselves. But your real self is not like that, because your real self can understand that every living entity is your brother and sister, belonging to the spiritual dimension. When you think like that, you can be on nice terms with everyone. Just by the potency of love itself will make everyone your friend. This is very true, very nice understanding. If you have it, if you go on in life that you're and you don't care for anyone, you won't really get anywhere, will you? Even on the job, people won't like you, right? So it's very important, Krishna consciousness, because it gives you that touch that you can overcome all of your life's difficulties and stresses by the potency of Krishna consciousness that it relates to. You cannot be Krishna conscious unless you're in ecstasy, Ecstasy is not something like something we experience in this world. We get something nice and then we feel good, right? Say I get $1,000, I feel great, I have $1,000. But the $1,000 after a while is gone, right? So the material world is like that. We get something material, we feel very happy. I get the property, I feel very happy. But then after a while, that feeling goes away, doesn't it? You have a nice car, after the car is really good for a few months, after a while, it's just a car, It cannot be more than that, right? So material life is like that. Whatever you can get, even if somebody is familiar with a lot of money, if they get $1 million, I get $1 million, so what, It depends. Material life and material desires are, useless. They're good for some time and then they poop out after a while. That's the problem with material life. But we find that if you work hard for spiritual ecstasy, develop that, then you'll find that is happiness of a different nature. It's happiness of a different nature. You have to experience what that is. But it does not come and go. It does not decrease. But it keeps growing and growing and growing, and stronger happiness and more happiness in yourself. And a very clear understanding of what you're doing in Krishna consciousness, why you're taking to spiritual life. Very important, because your soul doesn't play around with this. You come to Krishna consciousness, you might be just chanting Hare Krishna, but your soul is very serious about that. And that's why God has reciprocated with you and given you the keys to make the progress. All you have to do is hear from the bona fide spiritual master, and you have to be impressed by an advanced devotee. We shouldn't be impressed with people who are non-devotees. This guy has a flashy car, everybody wants to be the pure devotee. But faking to be a pure devotee is not going to help anyone. If you want to help anyone, you have to become a pure devotee yourself. You cannot say, oh, I can't become a pure devotee, right? Why? Why? There's no reason why, is there? None. Krishna is not like holding the spiritual world away from anybody. No, you can't get it, you can't get it, you can't get it. It's right there, you can get it. But as soon as you try to become Krishna conscious, you're going to be faced with the demon, Madhu, like it's described here, right? It's not that Krishna conscious means everything opens to you right away. No, first this demon is going to be on your case. The false ego. How are you going to be humble when the false ego is dictating, but you're better than others, aren't you? So it's very hard to be humble when you think you're better than others. So the false ego will have to be attacked first and cleared up first. And humility, pridelessness have to be attained first before you become enlightened. Enlightenment is not something Krishna is giving out to fake people, right? He's only giving that to sincere devotees. So that's what we're striving for. And you'll find that if you strive for that, and you strive for that, then you'll get it. You just strive for it and keep striving for it. Don't worry about if I'm going to get it. You just keep striving for that. And that's what detachment means. Detachment means if I don't get it right away, I don't become depressed. Oh, I didn't get it. Why Krishna didn't give me Krishna? If you feel like that, that's why some people they live in a temple and they feel like Krishna is not taking care of me, so I'm leaving, you know. When you go outside, there's the same Krishna outside, so where are you leaving? You thought Krishna was in the temple, you know, but Krishna is everywhere. So why are you going to leave Krishna? You know, so, but Prabhupada said if somebody leaves Krishna consciousness, Maya is kicking them out. There's no question of they're leaving, you know. But as long as you're very nice to the devotees, you're very pleasant, you're very sweet, you're very charming, very helpful, all these things, good qualities towards the devotees, then you'll become Krishna conscious very soon. I mean, your distresses. Krishna is saying here that he's the enemy of your distress. So that's very nice. You're also, the distress is also your enemy. So, but Krishna consciousness destroys all distress in life. And this is why it has become so important. And that's why Srila Prabhupada is so successful all over, because he's able to solve people's problems concerning the body, the mind. If the mind is not steadied by chanting and meditation on Krishna, then the mind will always be distressful. It will always be unhappy. We cannot say, "Oh, the ecstasy, that's advanced stuff." You know, it's not. I don't need it. You need the ecstasy. That's number one. You need it. And so, how will you attain it? That you have to study by reading books like Nectar of Devotion, very nice books by Rupa Goswami, can help you with that is called the heart's condition. You have to find your heart's condition in a nice, blissful place. When you discover that, then you'll be able to do the services with that love that you develop. Krishna consciousness means developing transcendental love and ecstasy. And that is why the Lord has given us association with His devotees. You cannot find it any other way. You just try to be a scholar, just studying, and you don't have this attitude of loving attitude, then you won't become successful just by knowing things. That's why you have Prabhupada taught us that Jnanis, they just study everything. But they never really become a devotee, do they? They just study everything. A yogi also is just trying to rise above the regular things and trying to become powerful in that way. But that also is not being a devotee too. You have to understand, a devotee is the greatest yogi. Lord Brahma, Srila Prabhupada, Narada Muni. These are the yogis, advanced yogis. And what are they? Devotees of Krishna. So that is you have Jnani, of course you have just people who are just Kamis, then you have Jnanis, then you have yogis, and then you have bhaktas or devotees. So it's not that Krishna consciousness, we're not advanced as yogis. Forget it, we're more advanced than yogis. Or at least not, we can't become more advanced than yogis. We can become pure devotees. And the Himalayan mountains, if you want to do all these things, you cannot do it right now. But you're doing right here. Prabhupada said that a householder in Krishna consciousness is the same as a yogi in the Himalayas. Actually, that's a fact. Because the devotee householder has so many difficulties with the household. Is that a fact? There's austerity. We engage in austerities, even as householders. So, so one who is in transcendental ecstasy now, how will he act? Will he be like rolling on the ground? Will he be able to do his job? Somebody who's in ecstasy, will they be able to give the talk? Will they be able to drive the car? Transcendental ecstasy doesn't mean like an intoxication, like I'm drunk, you know. It's something else of a different nature. But like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his later pastimes, what was he doing? Rolling on the ground, frothing at the mouth, you know. He's jumping off the boat, he's running foot, he's crazy. So we're teaching craziness. No, he is in transcendental ecstasies. These are something that only the soul can find and know about. But anyway, these ecstasies, as soon as you can develop them, then you can make advancement in your Krishna consciousness. And that is the real attainment that we're here for. We can do that very easy by continuing steady on the course. Steady association. Actually, we're relieved from the stress by good association. Just like me myself, I was so fortunate, right, to get contact with Srila Prabhupada. What a nice, beautiful person, Srila Prabhupada. To find out about what Prabhupada is like is very difficult now because he's already left the body. And somebody left the body, we're just left with some movies and some images of them and so forth. And that's very nice too. If you watch Prabhupada's videos, then you'll get some nice understanding of what he is. But actually, it's you need somebody to love you directly, you know. It wouldn't work otherwise. If you try it, the heart's condition is not like that. It won't be put away. Your heart doesn't have time for it. So we need persons, and we should be very careful in our association, even with the devotees that we know and that we have. You know, we should cherish every one of them. Prabhupada was like that. Prabhupada was interested in every little child, just like these boys are here. Prabhupada would be very interested in these boys. Because you never know which one of these boys are going to be like Prabhupada. And so you have to be very careful in your dealings with devotees. Don't look at them as just people. You have to be very careful if you want to go back to Krishna. This is what's required. To change yourself, to make yourself into a better and better devotee. That's what the objective is. And forget about everything else. And you'll find that if you surrender and you make some, if you want to surrender, you have to do some services. You have to make yourself, not that you just come here and see everything, you have to say, what can I do for the services? Very important. One time this was in that little temple we have in 2nd Avenue. Yeah. And Prabhupada was giving a talk, and a vagrant came in with some, some toilet tissue, and everybody looked, and then Prabhupada said, "Tell him to put it in the bathroom." And so the guy just went and put it in the bathroom, and then he came, and then he left. And Prabhupada said that person had just began their devotional service. You begin by doing something. You cannot say, "I can't do it." You have to start somewhere. "Prabhu, can I do this?" "Prabhu, you need some help this way." So you kind of get in on serving. You don't serve to get something. You just serve to please Krishna and to do something for Krishna. Krishna is doing things, isn't he? Krishna has desires, doesn't he? Krishna wants to do things in the material Western world. He wants to give himself to everybody. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's Krishna's desire. And so if we can help Krishna in doing that, then, we're becoming purified. Purified means what? Purified means gradually you'll be able to taste the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. This is what pure devotees are actually enjoying. They're enjoying transcendental bliss and ecstasy by their high quality realization. And if you don't have that, it'll be very difficult in your Krishna consciousness. You'll be very struggling to find where is Krishna, how can I be self-realized. So this verse here, although it's very small, it contains all the clues how to become Krishna conscious. We first have to know that we are directed to transcendental ecstasy, which is, in the material, if you haven't made the surrender to Krishna, you wouldn't be able to get the ecstasy, right? It's not going for somebody who's not surrendering, is it? It's not going for somebody who's not surrendering. It's only going for somebody who's surrendering. And if we're not surrendering, then we're left out of the ecstasy, right? Maybe we'll see some other devotee in ecstasy. We wonder, hey, how come he's in ecstasy? So we have to, although it seems, blissful and happy and enjoying like that, but actually the ecstasy is a very serious topic, right? So, you have to take it up and study it and see how, if you're ecstatic, are you ecstatic or are you unhappy, in your Krishna consciousness? Is your Krishna consciousness dry or is it wet, is it juicy? What is going on with that, And that's what the Krishna consciousness is about, your happiness, how to evolve that way of happiness to the point of ecstasy, which is your rightful place to be with Krishna in ecstasy. That's your rightful place. And so, material life means we're kicked out of our place. Therefore we're struggling. Prabhupada said, even if you have a big swimmer, if he's in the ocean, he'll still be struggling, fighting the water. So we have to come to the point that Krishna will take care of us. And Krishna will show us how to be happy. And Krishna will teach us, and all of distress, about any kind of distress, will disappear in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is like the fire of material life. Krishna consciousness is like the hose, just out everything. But there's a lot of people in distress, isn't that a fact? There's a lot of people in distress. And if we can become Krishna conscious, we can help a lot of people, right? And that is what it's about. You save yourself, and you save a lot of other souls too, just like Srila Prabhupada. What a perfect person. I mean, he had so much realizations, and he brought it for us, to share amongst ourselves. So it is very nice. Very spectacular, Prabhupada. What convinced me about Krishna consciousness wasn't the philosophy, it was, Srila Prabhupada. When he walked, it seemed like he floated off the ground. When he came somewhere, it seemed like he's a movie star. He light up everybody's happy with him, all the children are running to grab him and everything. So, and Prabhupada is not like, we told Prabhupada that there's nobody who can be like Prabhupada. In the beginning, devotees were trying to be like Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, no, that's not true. We shouldn't say that nobody can be like Prabhupada. He didn't like that. So Prabhupada is not a person that you want to attain something that nobody can attain. But he knows the way how you can attain it. And you can attain it easy. He gives you the information, he gives you the confidence, he gives you his disciples good association. And then that's what you're looking for, and that's what Krishna is giving you. Very important. Don't let it slip out of your hands, You have to be very intelligent in Krishna consciousness, If you give a diamond to a gorilla, right, what's he going to do with it? Throw it. So you have to know the value of the Krishna consciousness. If Krishna gives it to you, you make it a success. Don't just become a Madhyamadikari. You have to go all the way to Maha Bhagavat. That's where you have the opportunity now. Prabhupada didn't like, I'll do it in the next life, right? So we can do it all in this life. And we have all the information, and we have the nice association with the devotees, we have all the books to read. So there's no excuse. You simply take it and you make it a success. Everything is there, just like this verse is describing. You have to be interested in transcendental ecstasy. You know, what is that? It's just something I'm missing out on, you know? And then everything else is easy. So I'll just make it open for a couple of questions. Anyone? Questions? Just like I grew up in the church, right? There was no questions. You just take it and that's it, you know, no questions. But in Krishna consciousness, we exploit the questions all the time. Just like Maharaj Pariksit, he's asking 𝗔𝗯ance𝘂𝘁, what's going on? You know, what's this, what's that?
So, if anyone doesn't have a question, I would like to ask a question for well. I really like the part where you were explaining like, wow, what a car. And like, you know, it's just a car. But that kind of excitement is like, maybe it's just a car, but maybe that another car is going to make me excited. Wow, it's like, you know.
Yeah.
And I think we are so much stuck with that. And rather than the point you made out, like, you know, we actually supposed to be impressed by pure devotees. And that doesn't happen much. So how can we really evolve ourselves and, like, you know, focus on that happiness, that happiness actually the right evolvement of the happiness. How can we make it happen?
That's a very nice question. We can make it happen. It only happens in one way. It doesn't happen in another way. You have to be in contact with persons who are genuine. And you have to find somebody genuine in advance that you can get directions from. And feel comfortable that, you know, they're guiding you the right way. Same thing like Prabhupada. Why many people became enlightened with Prabhupada? Because they were confident that he was leading them the right way. It's all about your conviction and where you're hearing it from and where you're getting it from. But because we're attached to the physical body, and when we're not purified, we still have some attachment to the body. So we're going to be impressed with people who are of the body world. If we're not have more impressed with people who are advanced spiritually, then we're going to be impressed by people who are wasting time. So you have a nice car. So you have a nice car. It doesn't really mean anything spiritually. If you have a nice house, it doesn't mean anything spiritually. And so things that mean spiritually is when we make surrender, we make a connection with Krishna, we make a connection with services and things like that. That's more real. But we have to be careful that we don't become influenced by people who are not advanced spiritually. Like our children go to school, we don't want them to be impressed by foolish children in the school. And we don't want, when they grow older, we don't want them to be impressed by foolish other young people who are also wasting time. So it will depend on their, just like my grandchildren, they're all fired up because they're with me and they're just up, right? So we have to protect our children and teach them, not that other people forget other people, right? That's not Krishna consciousness. We have to live with people and live around people, but at the same time, we have to understand that these people is not perfectly going the right direction. That's okay, but we train our children to get good association and see what the world is meant for. Different kinds of people. The world is meant for people who are going this way. The world is meant for people who are going that way. So we don't fight with the world. The world is Krishna's world. He's the one who made it like that. But we secure our association on the spiritual platform. And if you want to do that, then the Lord one day will show you a very nice devotee, somebody who is dedicated, who is loving, and has all the good qualities, and then you'll get that person's association, you'll make advancement. Very easy. Krishna will show you the person. Just like Krishna showed me the person, right? Srila Prabhupada. I didn't know a person like that was around, right? I was on a train one day in Boston. It was 1972. And there was a vagrant on that train. And he had a magazine. He threw the magazine. And when it fell, it was a BTG, Krishna lifting Govardhan. And that's how I became a devotee. So, Krishna is everywhere. And Krishna is making arrangements to get you entangled in his loving embrace. So we should be aware of that and work towards that. And don't avoid that. Don't avoid good association. And if you see somebody who knows more, recognize that. Don't make like they don't know anything. And then you'll get Krishna's attention, and Krishna will give you himself. You'll be able to do something for the world. And like it is stated here, very important, your distresses, which we're all interested in, right? Stopping the distress. This is part of Krishna consciousness. We kill the distress, like Krishna is stating here.
So again, to your answer, you pointed out that if you find right association, like don't take it. But sometimes, like we have this mentality of make a judgment. Like we always want to find we don't have association like Prabhupada. Well, they are not like pure, like that maybe there's a fault like on him. So that kind of aspiration, like in particular, like in a community or something, like how can we really have that conviction that I can listen to these devotees, I can follow these devotees? How can we have that so that like now
if you're looking for somebody like Prabhupada, you wouldn't get it, That's being realistic, Prabhupada, right? When he was a little boy, he was doing the Rath Yatra around his house, right? And later on in life, he did the Rath Yatra around the world, right? So Prabhupada is a pure devotee from the very beginning of his life, right? So it's not that Prabhupada to be like Prabhupada, right? But it's to be, a servant of Prabhupada and to love Prabhupada, right? And then you'll have at least a few good qualities, right? But if you're gonna be like Prabhupada, it's not possible. Being realistic. It's not, a person that does a surrender like that, we cannot imitate them. We can just, offer respect to them, serve them in different ways, and that will help us to develop ourselves. But that comes from recognizing that person is beyond us, And so, those who recognize that in Prabhupada, then they could go the whole distance with Prabhupada. They can live the whole life for Prabhupada and get a big result by doing that. But that's under the influence of that pure devotee. So you become a pure devotee, but of course by being in the graces and mercies of a pure devotee. And so in the Krishna consciousness, we take very much appreciation in association. Association is the path to spiritual realization. It comes through association. And you'll get, you have to depend on Krishna. He will always sometimes reveal a pure devotee or something like that. And then you can get from that, you get something good, you have to squeeze it, get out of it. You get Krishna out of it. Find out why the person is becoming self-realized. There must be something that the person knows that's going on. And if a person is self-realized, that sparks up everybody. This is the thing, if one person gets it, then everybody gets charged with it. And that's how you make advancement. You cannot make an advancement without that. I'll make advancement at home with myself. So that's why this association with devotees is so much important. Because it gives you the extra ability to reach Krishna by realization, by direct realization. We shouldn't just depend on somebody else's realization. We have to get our own realization. Isn't that a fact? And so, Krishna consciousness is, first it appears like chanting and dancing, taking prasadam and all these beautiful things, but actually it's very serious, isn't it? When it gets down to it, It's life and death, you know. You make it or you break it. But you're on the line, you know, and you have to get out the line. You know, who's going to surrender to Krishna? You, right? Who's going to help out and Prabhupada and all the services? You, right? It's always going to be you. We shouldn't think that somebody else is going to do it. Prabhupada told us like that, right? He said, don't like somebody else will do it, right? He said, you will do it. And that's what Krishna consciousness is about. Not depending on other devotees, you know. You become like Srila Prabhupada. You develop the advanced devotional service. You can do it. There's no obstruction to doing that, is there? None. If you know it properly, you study it and you make surrender. It's not really a big obstacle and you can attain it. But like I said, you know, just go for the good association. If you have good association, remember that association and know that that association is being protected and maintained by Krishna. And then the rest is easy. It's just being happy. If you're not happy, you won't be able to be Krishna conscious, will you? Because we get happiness out of the services. Those who are serving, they're getting happy from the service. They make a little thing, they make a little garland, they make a little this. The pujaris who are doing taking care of the deity, they get so much happiness by taking care of the deity. Isn't that a fact? So there's a lot of happiness in Krishna consciousness. The people who are beating the drums, isn't that happy? Every time you hit the drum, it's more ecstasy, right? Bam, bam. Anything you're doing is like that. Was it eating the prashadam is nice, right? But dancing, you know, what you have to do here is get the kirtan more juiced up and dancing in a circle and all this kind of thing. Krishna consciousness is excitement, right? It's like Hare Krishna. It's a high tone, like Hare Krishna, high, you know. This is the way to happiness. It looks like in the beginning, like it won't lead to happiness. Just like material life, right? It looks like in the beginning, it's gonna lead to happiness. Isn't it bad? Get juiced up when you're young. But then when you see, wait a minute, I have to pay bills, I have to do this, I have to beat that, I have to do so many things, then the happiness kind of goes away. Material happiness, like I said before, it's nice in the beginning, it's like fireworks, right? And then it all goes down. And when you say, what happened? It all, you know, things around. So if you don't know that, you're going to keep going for the firework, and this other happiness that's real and can evolve, you miss that. In the end, then the person is unhappy, miserable, and at the end of life, there's so many distresses are there too. You may not be able to walk anymore, or see anymore, or all these things. So, you know, be very happy with whatever health you have, and whatever time you have, make a surrender, and you'll be happy in your Krishna consciousness. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhupada.
There are always two sides, at least two sides of everybody, right? One is in public, where we are very conscious, very high, and one is in private, you know. How could we break and just be one? Or is it good to be one?
It's, if you're Krishna conscious in public, you'll be only Krishna conscious in public if you're Krishna conscious in private. Isn't that a fact? Because Krishna consciousness is not a false impression impressed on others. It's a genuine realization. So if we're Krishna conscious in our private life, then that's what we're looking for. We don't have to worry about public life because our private life and public life is the same thing. It's all about finding sincerity and being genuine. Even if we're not genuine, we can become genuine. We're not real, we can become real. We're not in ecstasy, we can become in ecstasy. So all these things, Krishna consciousness is becoming what you can become. That's available to you. All you have to do is find a way how to do it, that's all. It's just being given to you by Lord Chaitanya. You also have done some work to come to that point. Because God knows why you're here in Krishna consciousness, because you've done things to bring you here. So you also have done something, not just Krishna speak you, I want you, I want you, I want you. You've also made surrender. And now that Krishna shows you himself, you have to make more surrender. They asked Srila Prabhupada, what do you do after you've done so much service? And Prabhupada said, more service. Because you become enthusiastic in doing something for Krishna. Not like you just, oh, it's amazing to find Krishna. That's nice, but you can help Krishna. Is that, the baby Krishna, he had the slippers on his head, and he's taking them for Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda. They're saying, what a beautiful child. Just see him doing services. And so your service is also your love and devotion is in your service. Any way you can remain doing services to Krishna, and we didn't know Krishna directly, but through Srila Prabhupada, we get access to Krishna. All right? So, Manaji, no question? Everybody's going back to college? All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you so much.